This is my audience. The title of my speech is How to Adjust a Clarinet Reed, and I'm the speaker, Riley Bainbridge. The purpose of this is to demonstrate to my audience of clarinet players how to adjust a reed. Wind instruments have been around for over 50,000 years. They stem from flute-like instruments made from animal bones. Since then, they have evolved into the instruments that we can recognize today. Clarinets, like other reed instruments, need reeds to create vibrations that produce sound waves to travel through the instrument. I have been playing the clarinet since 5th grade for about 11 years. Good reeds are vital to clarinet playing because they can really affect the sound and articulation significantly. Most amateurs don't need to adjust the reeds, but as you progress through your clarinet playing, it is very important to learn this skill. I began in 2021 learning how to adjust reeds with my clarinet professor, Dr. Walkman, who has over 35 years of experience. To adjust a clarinet reed, you really only need 5 materials, but you need a lot of patience and it can require a lot of steps. There are different circumstances in which you would need to adjust different parts of your reed. A new reed is very hard, and you can tell this because it requires a lot more effort and air to produce a sound. The perfect reed has a medium hardness with a flexible tip for air quality and for good articulation. First, we will go over the materials, then the parts of the reed, and then we will go over the steps to adjust your reed. So now let's begin to go over the materials. First, you will need a clarinet. You will need a reed or a couple reeds. You're going to need a cup of water, and then you will need a small plexiglass surface or some sort of hard little surface that you can actually adjust your reed, and you will also need a reed knife, in which I do not have. So now that we have established the materials, let's begin going over the parts of the reed. So this is your basic reed. This entire long part right here, where you can see the textures changing, is called the vamp. The very end is called the tip. These sides are called the rails. And then this bottom part, where you can kind of see right before it changes the textures, are called the shoulders. And then the heart is in the middle right here. And then there's the line, it's called the file mark. This is where the mark where you can tell it changes the two textures right below the shoulders. And then this very bottom part is called the stock. It's the thickest part of the reed. So now that we know all the parts of the reed, we can go over the steps in which you do to adjust it. So first, you want to take your reed or reeds, if you're doing multiple, and soak them in your water for about a minute. I'm not going to do a minute though, because I don't have that kind of time. So after you do it for a minute, you're going to put your reed onto your clarinet. And then you are going to play and listen to the sounds and move it from side to side and listen for anything that might sound different. So as you can tell, it sounds different when I move it from side to side. So now you're going to take your reed off of your clarinet, and you're going to put it onto your little piece of glass or surface. And step number 4 would be to adjust the tip. So you're going to take your reed knife and just shave a little bit off of the very tip of it. You don't want to do too much because you don't want to take a lot off and then ruin your reed. You can always go back and take more off as you need to. And then step 5 is to adjust the rails. So you heard when I moved it from side to side that when I had it on this side, it sounded a lot louder than it did on this side. So that means that I would adjust the left side of the reed because that's the side that sounded fuzzier. So then you would take a little bit off of the side of the reed. Sorry, you take a little bit off of the side of the reed right here to make up for the fuzzy sound. And then your 6th step, if your lower notes on the clarinet sound fuzzy, then you would want to adjust the shoulder right here at the bottom, and that will help clear up that sound for your lower notes. And then after that, those are the only parts that you want to adjust. You need to avoid adjusting the heart or the middle part of the reed because that is it would be too thin in the middle and then it wouldn't sound good. Okay, now for step 7, you're going to put your reed back on to your clarinet. And then you are going to continue to play your clarinet and listen for those differences and adjust. You repeat the steps and adjust as needed. Okay, now let's go over what we learned. We learned today how to adjust a reed based on the sounds that you hear while you're playing. This will very much improve your playing. This requires a lot of patience and checking your sounds multiple times, but after you achieve your desired tone, you will sound like a professional. This is my audience again.